Who isn't a fan of a luxury car? Watching cars with a super expensive price tag is certainly one activity that fascinates everyone. Even though many of us cannot possibly afford these vehicles, it is a bit of a guilty pleasure for some of us. Hello, and welcome back to our channel, where today we will be going over a list of the top 10 most expensive cars in the world as of 2021. So, set back, relax, and let's drive! Number 10, Pagani Huayra BC. The Pagani Huayra is number 10 on our list of the most expensive car in the world in 2021. This beast is sold for $2.8 million. Pagani Huayra is a Mercedes-inspired version 12 car with a 6-litre engine. Pagani, an Italian sports car manufacturer, created the mid-engine sports car. The vehicle was named after Huayra Tata, a Quechua winged god, and his redesigned version of their older version, Zonda. The rear-wheel drive vehicle is equipped with a high-performance engine that speeds from 0 to 97 km an hour or 60 miles an hour in just 2.8 seconds. It has a canopy door that opens completely from the bottom to the top. The Pagani Huayra BC has its official premiere on February 2011 at Pirelli's headquarters in Milan. Due to its structure, it can handle heavy amounts of acceleration while going uphill, meaning its engine is much stronger than the ones you often find in the market. Number 9, Ferrari Pininfarina Sergio. With a starting price of $3 million, the Ferrari Pininfarina Sergio stands 9th among the top 10 most expensive cars in the world. Sergio is a Ferrari Pininfarina luxury concept car with a 4.5-litre V8 engine and a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. The elegantly styled rear-wheel drive launched in 2013 at the Geneva Motor Show as a memorial to Sergio Pininfarina. The body of the Ferrari Pininfarina Sergio was created using carbon fibre, which lowered its weight by about 10%, allowing it to sprint from 0 to 100 km an hour in 3.6 seconds, which is significantly slower than the competition. When it comes to Ferrari, you know it's either class or nothing, and this model is the definition of class. Number 8, Aston Martin Valkyrie. The Aston Martin Valkyrie is one of the best hybrid sports vehicles a company has ever produced. The Aston Martin Valkyrie is a rear-wheel drive car featuring a 6.5-litre V12 engine and a 7-speed single-clutch automated manual transmission. It boasts a high power output of 1,160 horsepower, which contributes to its remarkable speed, which is comparable to that of a Formula One car. The one-of-a-kind luxury automobile is the world's 8th most expensive car in 2021, selling for a whopping $3.2 million. With the help of Aston Martin's design power and Red Bull advanced technology, the pricey luxury car was made out of carbon fibre, which, just like the Ferrari, helped reduce its weight and give it a magnificent speed. Number 7, Bugatti Veyron Mansory Vevere. The Bugatti Veyron Mansory Vevere Limited Edition is the world's 7th most expensive car in 2021, selling for $3.4 million. When the Mansory was launched in 2005, it was marketed as a strictly limited version because of its high speed and luxurious design, as it, too, was made of carbon fibre. With a top speed of almost 410 km an hour, the Bugatti Veyron Mansory Vevere accelerates from 0 to 100 km an hour in about 2.5 seconds, a phenomenal performance that has made it extremely costly. Mansory Vevere was available in a variety of colours, including white, black, red, and others. Stylish, compact, fast, and luxurious, the Bugatti Veyron is certainly the complete package that one could ask for when it comes to owning an expensive car. Number 6, Lykan Hypersport. The Lykan Hypersport is a flat-six car with a 3.7-litre turbo twin-charge engine. It was W Motor's first hypercar and was unveiled at the 2013 International Qatar Motor Show. With a price tag of $3.4 million, the Lykan Hypersport is the 6th most expensive car on our list of the world's most expensive vehicles. The automobile comes with 2 transmissions, a 6-speed sequential manual and a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. The rear-wheel drive car can create over 780 horsepower and reach 62 miles an hour in just 2.8 seconds, an incredible speed that puts it ahead of most of the automobiles in today's list. This car has also made its Hollywood debut in the movie Fast and Furious 7, when Vin Diesel and Paul Walker steal the world's most expensive car and make it fly from one building to another. Number 5, McLaren P1. The McLaren P1 LM is the 5th most expensive car on our list. McLaren P1 LM is a mid-engine plug-in hybrid fast sports car with a rear-wheel drive that sold for $3.6 million. Lanzante's premium fast car, powered with a 3.8-litre twin-turbocharged V8 engine, replaced the aging F1 GTR. The vehicle generates enough speed of 903 horsepower thanks to a twin-turbocharger. The McLaren P1 was introduced at the 2012 Paris Motor Show as a replacement to the McLaren F1. The McLaren P1 accelerates quickly thanks to its 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. It accelerates from 0 to 100 miles an hour in 2.8 seconds, making it 5.5 seconds faster than its predecessor F1, making it even more expensive. Number 4, Lamborghini Veneno Roadster. The Lamborghini Veneno is the world's 4th most expensive automobile in 2021. The price of this luxurious automobile is $4.5 million. The 2013, the Italian Lamborghini automobile firm manufactured the Veneno Roadster, which was formerly owned by a Saudi Arabian royal family member. The high-end sports automobile was created to celebrate the company's 50th anniversary. The Veneno Roadster is a fast all-wheel drive mid-engine car with a 6.5-litre naturally aspirated V12 engine. It accelerates from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in a mere 2.9 seconds. This sports car comes with an engine that can withstand a lot of pressure, causing it to race at speeds faster than most other sports cars. Number 3, Koenigsegg CC-XR Trevita. With a price tag of $4.8 million, Koenigsegg's CC-XR Trevita is the world's 3rd most expensive car in 2021. The CC-XR Trevita is one-of-a-kind luxury car created from a black-coated fibre that has been transformed into a sparkling silver-white element. Trevita's vivid colour comes from a silvery white fibre that sparkles like millions of tiny white diamonds embedded throughout the body. In addition to its dazzling appearance, the Koenigsegg CC-XR Trevita delivers a strong performance thanks to its 4.7-litre twin-turbocharged 8V engine design, which generates more power and accelerates faster. The CC-XR Trevita races to over 250 miles an hour in 2.9 seconds, which is exceptional for a luxury automobile. The reason why this car can run at such high speeds is because of its irregular weight distribution. Instead of keeping it 50-50, the CC-XR's front is much lighter than its rear. Truly a genius move by the engineers at Koenigsegg. Number 2, Rolls-Royce Sweeptail. Of course, our list could not be completed without a mention from what many believe to be the world's most elite car brand, Rolls-Royce. The Rolls-Royce Sweeptail is valued at $13 million, which is a fair price for such a stunning vehicle. In 2017, a Rolls-Royce Sweeptail was manufactured on demand by a Rolls-Royce customer, taking the car off the market. It's a 2-seater car that was built specifically for them. The superfast Sweeptail is equipped with a 6.75-litre V12 engine and an 8-speed transmission, giving it 4.53 horsepower of acceleration (HP). The existence of the V12 engine, which results in high fuel consumption, is a luxury car's drawback. Sweeptail was constructed as a result of a special patron's enthusiasm for his favourite early 20th century cars, as well as several vintage and modern yachts, according to Rolls-Royce. Number 1, Bugatti La Voiture Noire. And finally, history repeats itself, and Bugatti finishes off our list with its La Voiture model, which is valued at a mind-blowing $18 million. The magnificent luxury automobile beat by Bugatti's designer Etienne Salom in 2019 was called La Voiture Noire, which translates to the black car in English. La Voiture Noire is a monument to Bugatti's history, a manifesto of the Bugatti style, and a piece of automotive hoity culture, according to Bugatti. The Bugatti La Voiture Noire is powered by an 8-litre quad-turbo 16-cylinder engine with a stunning look. The pricey car boasts up to 1,500 horsepower and 1,180 pound-feet of torque, which is a fantastic match for such an expensive car. La Voiture Noire is one of the world's fastest cars, reaching 100 kilometers an hour in 2.4 seconds. Now imagine sitting in a car with such speed. This model is living proof that Bugatti has always and will continue to make some of the most stunning pieces in the automobile industry. After creating such a magnificent piece, what could be next for them? Who knows? Which one of these cars would you like to purchase? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to never miss another update. We'll see you soon.